Hello, I'm here today with Dr. Mark Forskitt. He's going to talk to us about the Liberal Democrats abroad. They've got a meeting tonight at Holier School at 5:30. It's just to get an idea about what the concept is of whether it's going to be a party in Jersey. Is it just a grouping? Sounds very interesting, so we're going to go straight over to Mark now to talk about that.
Hi, Montfort.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, at the moment the proposal, as I understand it, is to have an organisation. There are a few already in existence in Brussels and one in Germany, I think one other, which are part of Liberal Democrats abroad, and that's Liberal Democrat supporters who live outside of the UK who still support the party.
Okay.
Now, where that goes will depend on the membership and what happens tonight. I'm not organising it. I'm supporting it insofar as I was a Liberal Democrat councillor in the UK, have some experience, obviously some knowledge of the Liberal Democrat constitution and the policy platform and so on. And from that point of view, I'm supporting it. I think it's an interesting move. I think it could be beneficial to Jersey. And I think it'll be an interesting meeting.
Mm. No, good. Can you talk to us a bit about your experience as a Liberal Democrat councillor in the UK, what that entailed?
Yeah, I was a county councillor in Nottinghamshire, represented the what was then the Robin Hood division, which no longer exists. I was one of four on a council of 55, so it was tough work, very much in opposition. But even there, the parties were recognised by the council, and there were officers associated to the groups. We only had a part-time officer because there were only four of us who did some of the research and some of the paperwork and so on. So even at that level, as a political party, it was recognised in the organisation of the whole structure of the council and what it did. Because it was the only way the council could operate effectively. There was no way you could get 55 people from all across Nottinghamshire, with the differences from the south by the university right up to the north in the mining villages, that would operate as a cohesive unit otherwise.
Yeah, I mean that's something interesting to talk about actually, because that's essentially what we have in Jersey. We're constantly told that consensus politics is the best way, or certainly is the status quo. Although some say that we've got covert party politics, we certainly have allegiances in the states, divisions and factions. So do you think that party politics is necessary in Jersey, or is it even workable in Jersey?
I certainly think it's workable. I mean, historically we've had parties. One of the issues, and I think one of the great things about this, is it's being done after the elections rather than before. People in Jersey seem to have a view that parties are simply about electoral mechanics, getting people into the states. It's not really. The whole essence of a party is to promote a particular way of looking at the world and a set of policies and a way of going about things that you think are advantageous to the society that you live in, or the planet you live on. And those activities go on outside of the electoral process period of the 2 months of voting and so on. And that's things like policy formation, training of representatives, public speaking, lobbying, campaigning, all sorts of issues and things that go on all the time, that an organised party can bring together people who have a reasonably common view, can sort out what they think should be done, and can then put that point across.
Yeah, there have been attempts in the very recent past to form parties. There has been a party and there have been various attempts at similar, the Centre Party, the JDA, etc., which we know about. Why do you think they haven't worked?
I think one of the issues, there have been two factors that often are problematic for parties. One is top-down leadership, particularly when it's an elected politician who then has a party supporting them rather than them being part of a party, and that's a matter of personality. And the other thing that you really have to have if you're forming a party that's going to go somewhere is you have to have some sort of philosophical basis to it, whether it's socialist, green, libertarian. There has to be some philosophical thing that holds it together. You can have a coalition of oppositional campaigns for a particular issue, but once that issue's passed or changed or morphed, what do you have left? And it has to have something that holds the thing together.
Yeah. So it needs to have support from the grassroots, is what you say. It can't really be manufactured and then expected.
I believe so. I think you really have to do these things that way.
Yeah. Okay, and hopefully that's something that anyone wishing to set a party up in Jersey could learn from. But it's not about an individual wishing to set a party up. It's about coming organically. I think is what we're saying.
And what's interesting about this proposal tonight, it didn't come from Rose or myself. We were asked after the event if we would support it, it's come from people who've actually who are supporting the Liberal Democrats in the UK who want to do this.
What I wanted to ask you about is that I think it's probably a worthwhile thing to do anyway for Liberal Democrat supporters, but isn't that quite limited? First of all, that there are a limited amount of, let's say, UK people in Jersey. Presumably it's not just limited to them, but there's going to be a limited amount of those who follow politics. Again, even less who would support the Liberal Democrats. So is it perhaps too niche, or is it simply, do you see it as a starting point?
I think it's a starting point. The proposal, as I understand it, is not actually to form a party in Jersey. It's simply to be a branch of the Liberal Democrats abroad, and looking at the policies of the Liberal Democrats that apply to Jersey, and there are some that clearly do, because in the matters of, for example, international representation, defence and the administration of justice, the UK are responsible for what we do. Now, as it happens, certainly internationalism and justice are two issues that are very hot for Liberal Democrats, so it ties in very well. We're particularly interested in those issues, so there's a two-way flow that has to go from Jersey and the people of Jersey to Westminster through a political party. It'll have to be in that case, and back the other way.
Do you think there'll be a natural suspicion, though, for your average Jersey person? Certainly the established media over here will view any UK party, whether it's an office abroad, as with suspicion.
Of course, yes. It's not from here. It's not grown here, which is why I'm not sure that it will actually morph into a political party. It could. Interestingly, in the Isle of Man elections that happened in September, the only party that stood was the Liberal Vannin, who are actually allied to the Liberal Democrats in the UK, have the same sort of logo with a long boat on it, and gained 3 seats. But they actually set up as a distinct party, and that's not the route that I believe is being proposed here. Yeah.
Perhaps if you Jerseyfy the logo, make it more of a yellow banana rather than a yellow bird. So I think the last question, which follows on from what you've just said, is that as I talked about the suspicion, certainly from the media, about a UK party, and in particular the Liberal Democrats, who certainly up until they were part of the coalition, but still they're making very strong voices about offshore financial centres, of which Jersey clearly is one. And there's big discontent in the UK, actually in the mainstream, in the mainstream, not simply in the media, but amongst the public. And they're very concerned that actually money that should be being paid in UK tax revenue is being taken abroad. Now, would the Liberal Democrats in Jersey be speaking up on those issues? And if they didn't, would that be a contradiction?
Well, that's obviously going to be for the organisation to decide. That's partly what the meeting is going to do this evening. But I mean, Liberals are historically internationalist and justice-minded in the world, so I imagine, yes, they would speak up on those issues. But it's not. I mean, it is a complicated set of criteria that people are concerned with. And as much as you want to promote the international values, of course, we don't want to see mass unemployment in Jersey either. I wouldn't have thought. So it's a matter of what is the pragmatic policy approach is going to get us to an equitable end goal, and that's something that needs to be debated and discussed, with both sides of that argument being aired properly. And I would have thought the Liberal Democrats would have a part to play in doing that.
Hey, Dr. Mark Forskitt, thank you for the interview, and we look forward to seeing what comes of the meeting tonight.
It'll be interesting. I don't know how it's going to come out. I'm not involved in organising it, so I should be as surprised as, or pleased as you are, probably. Yeah.